To order. We'll do a roll call. Judy Corso.
Here.
Mark Harrington has indicated he would not be here. Joe Hayberger is not here. Tim King has sent Kevin Cannon, so we're good with there. Mr. Kuntz is not here. I'm here. David Miller is here. Dr. Siemens is not here. Mr. Zeyer's here, and Mr. Zuloff is here. So we have a quorum. Next item is the approval of minutes from our August 1st meeting. They are attached to our agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. New business. Does anyone have any new business to bring forth? All right, we'll move on to old business items with new updates. We have item number 1, the Justice Center. Mr. Klein.
Yes, sir. So that project is nearing completion. I wanted to give this body an update that hopefully by the end of the month, it'll be completed. Police will start operating in a couple weeks fully out of the building, and court should be operational by the end of the month-ish, and then a groundbreaking, that'd be terrible. A ribbon cutting will be scheduled for sometime in October.
Okay,
So,
that's great news.
all right.
I'm sure everybody's anxious to see that completed.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Any questions on the Justice Center? Yes, David.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I can understand you're saying it's almost done. The last time I was down there, it seems like there's still a lot of site work related to the impound lot and the traffic flow through there, or is that pretty much settled now and I'm just not paying attention?
Where's
In
the
back
impound?
of the Justice Center, my recollection is a fairly large enclosed area that's secured by a fence where
Yes.
they're going to park.
Yeah.
But then the traffic flow changes, like there's one in and one out of two different bays, or there's only one bay left of parking island situation? How does that go again?
There's a cross connection between the two old parking lots on the north side of the building by the tennis courts. And both of those are going to be in and out, two-directional traffic with parallel parking. The northernmost parking lot was not included in the contract. We also didn't want to pave that parking lot until the Wheels Park project is over, because that's their access with concrete trucks. So our city crews are supposed to get in next week. We're going to redo the signage in the area. The parking's different on Washington now that that's somewhat of a dead end rather than a through street with that connection. So there is signage changes, there's going to be parking changes, and they're going to restripe it and fill some of the potholes on that parking lot on the north side by the tennis courts. And then next year, we're hoping to get in there. Funding allows to resurface and restripe and have everything newer on that north end.
All right, so let me picture it again. So I think what you're calling the southernmost of the two parking areas, that's a dead end now, right? Goes in, it's not, it can drive, okay.
Right. Yeah, that was something that was added later in the project. It was requested by a city commission to have a connection there, so that was added as part of the project.
That's what I missed then. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on the Justice Center?
Mr. Chairman, I had
Yes, Mr. Zuloff.
just clarifying. So I think what Mr. Miller's addressing is the same question I had. If there were any minor changes to the site plan that Planning Commission didn't see, and it sounds like you've addressed Planning Commission's concern about that dead end parking lot, and now it's, there's a way out.
Yeah, I think that original recommendation may have come from Planning Commission, and then it went to City Commission, and they asked for that connection. They also asked for the fence on the south side to be pushed back and the gate to be pushed back from the edge of the building, so that was pushed back to accommodate that request.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to the Wheels Park.
Yes, this project is going pretty steadily. Just wanted to, I'm not going to be here for the next two meetings, so I wanted to give a quick update that they are moving. The shotcrete's going in. The skate park community has been updated on a regular basis about the progress. They start pouring concrete again next week as they're done forming some of the additional sections, and they're still on schedule to finish it this year.
All right. That's good. David?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, and I probably would know this if I paid better attention, but the new configuration, this small question, does it still have a pump track? You know, that series of moguls where you can get momentum up, that's gone now?
Yeah, there is no pump track. There wasn't enough funding in the budget for it, so that was one of the things that was removed. That was one of the amenities, I understand, during the planning process, that was not really the most desirable of all the other ones. So if there was something that was going to be removed, that was the one that was requested. So there still are going to be the other items that were remained in there. Were the beginner area, the bowl, and some of the other features that the community wanted. And then there's two shade structures, one on either end by the parking lots.
Thank you.
Kevin?
Mr. Chairman, could I inquire, I don't know what the overall price is now and where was it from the beginning, and this may not be something that is popular to ask, but I've been asked that a question by some other members of the public. I have no answer for that.
Yeah, what I can say to that question is that the overall budget for design, planning, and everything was $1 million. The construction budget is, what was that, 750, 850, 850.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Any other questions on the?
Well, that asks the
Mr.
question,
Miller?
how are we coming with the budget? Is it on budget, or the 10% contingency kind of thing in there, or?
So far, it's looking good. I haven't heard anything from the contractor yet that there's any changes. I mean, we obviously with grade and with the bay being right there, we're trying to make sure that water doesn't, that it drains properly and things like that, but I haven't heard anything that the budget's got any issues.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Okay, no other questions on that? We'll move on. Columbus Avenue Streetscape.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm Megan Stuckey. I'm a project manager with Engineering Services under the direction of Aaron Klein with the Department of Public Works. So our staff is taking over the construction after Aaron and her team has put together the design on the project. We have our project engineer, Josh Snyder, overseeing it, myself as project manager, public outreach, and then we have our inspector, Sherrod Johnson, who will be out there full-time. So we always encourage you, questions, reach out to us. We're happy to help throughout construction. So far, right now with the project, as you can see, Columbia Gas is here. A precursor to our project is they had some old infrastructure out there. So they desired to get in here, replace the gas line, as well as they're going to get into the properties and get meters moved out, get service lines moved out, and get everything updated and up to code for their gas line. So they probably have a few extra weeks here left to go with work, but they're moving along nicely. They've been good to work with, not only with us as staff, but with our stakeholders. They stay in touch and communicate with them pretty regularly. As far as our project goes for the streetscape, we have hired Great Lakes Demolition as our contractor. The city's worked with them before on the East Water Street project. Aaron worked with them. We had them out on McCartney Road when we did a storm drain project. So we're pretty familiar with their work. They've been great to work with. They also did the Butler Street ramp. Right now, we are working with them through scheduling and materials. The industry is seeing, and it's nothing new, a lag time on water line materials. So we're working through that. So we do not have a specific start date right now. We do hope to have something revealed in the next couple weeks because we're working through different vendors and different resources to see what we can do. However, our contractor has assured us that when they get in here, they'll have multiple crews working at the same time to make sure they're out of here in a timely fashion before next summer. So that's kind of what I have for an update. I also take care of the public outreach to people via email. So I'm not sure if I have you guys on the email group, but I can certainly add Bayfront Corridor. I will send out emails periodically about where we are or things that are happening. On top of that, we have made connection with every property owner, business owner via personal contact, phones, emails, and we're keeping that line of communication open because obviously this project will affect many throughout construction. So we don't want to be that burden. Our contractor doesn't want to be that burden, so we're all working together to make sure we can get through this process as simple and easy as we can, so.
Okay, thank you for that update.
Yeah.
I guess question that comes to my mind with the delay in start, is that going to affect the completion date?
Not at this time, no. No, the contractor has talked with us about it, and they do not feel that this is going to do anything to our completion. It's something that we kind of knew going into it, as with any project we really work on. Since COVID, Waterline has just been a bear to get pieces and parts. So we kind of knew that. So we're working through, we have some solutions to, alternate materials, items like that. So they've been great to work with, but they definitely want to see a finished project before summer. And they're excited to get in here too. They're pretty proud of working on this one.
Okay, thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman, if I might, thank you for your comment on the water lines. Any issues with the sewer lines?
We are not doing sewer main as part of the project, so we do not see any issues with that at this point. But in other projects, we don't seem to have issues with those types of materials. It's really when you get into the meter pits and the pieces and parts to put meters in is where you're seeing a lot of that.
I mean, the only issue, you see this happen when new construction goes in on something and you have to come back, finish it, come back later, and oh my God, we didn't touch the sewer lines.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no, we're good. We've gone through some extensive investigations with the lines. We're working with property owners who desire to have some sewer laterals repaired or things like that. But yeah, that was not originally a part of the project.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Good.
Mr. Miller?
Yeah, just a point of curiosity related to water lines. You said that exploring alternative materials and stuff. We're talking all plastic? Is this PVC, HDPE? Or
I
what?
can't speak to the specifics on that. Josh Snyder, the project engineer, he is integral in this and working with water distribution through Director Klein, if you'd like to comment, because you're involved as well.
Yeah, when we talk about materials, there's obviously several different types of materials. There's the pipe itself, there's the meters to the buildings, all the different things. The part that is on a dramatic lead time is brass fittings that go into the meter pit on either side and actually just outside of the meter pit. So it's those little fittings that are what need to come in, and the problem is that they don't go down in the meter pit, they're actually outside the meter pit, so you'd have to leave full slabs of concrete and everything else out. On a project where it's not a streetscape from building face to building face, that might not be a concern because you might be able to get outside of the, up to the edge of the right-of-way where that meter pit would normally be. But in this case, it doesn't make any sense to tell them to do everything but leave, a 10 by 10 piece of concrete out and come back later and do it, and then it just looks different. It might be a slightly different shade, things like that. So it's just those little brass fittings that everybody's having trouble with, and they're 4 or 5 month lead time.
I appreciate that explanation. Thank you.
Any other questions on the streetscape project? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to other old business. The items that are listed as having no updates are the Sandusky Bay Pathway, the landing, the Causeway wetlands, and the Jackson Street Parking Lot Hotel project. Does anyone have any questions for staff on those, even though there aren't any specific updates? Mr. Klein?
Yeah, can I actually give an update? I know I didn't have it on the old business section, but on the pathway or the landing, I guess whichever one you want to look at it, the piece of the former landing project that was the pathway between Heminger Ditch and Cedar Point Drive, we've been waiting for ODOT to finalize their environmental reviews, their acquisition, the right-of-way, all of that stuff. And we finally found out last week that they had a few questions. They issued those questions. Some of them the majority of them relate to the ODOT project just outside the city, but there are a few that relate to our project. Once we get those answered, we should be able to finalize everything, send in our final documents to ODOT, and get approval to move forward with bidding that. So it looks like, based on just timeline and schedules, that if we can't get something on and get everything finalized and approved later this month, then hopefully October, and maybe we can bid the project October, November, and begin construction still this year.
Okay, great. Yeah, right, thank you. Mrs. Corso?
How many more land acquisitions do you have to get before you can finish that project from Sports Force all the way down?
We've had acquisition for a couple years, so everything's been in place for a long time.
So you have everything you need now?
Yeah, for a year and a half, maybe.
Okay.
All right. Other questions? All right.
I have
Mr.
one
Miller.
unrelated question, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Well, this is, I don't know where it fits, but at the node, kind of behind that Cedar Point property with the old railroad crossing there, any update on a bridge for that? That's not part of what you're talking about, acquisition being made and ready to bid, right? That would be a later phase to go ahead with that.
The bridge is included in this project, so that will be installed as part of this project, and that project is fully funded by, the construction phase of it is fully funded through the ODOT RAISE grant.
That's great.
All right. Mrs. Corso?
One unrelated question, is there any update on the roundabout at Cleveland Road and Cedar Point Drive?
We're still moving forward with acquisition services on that, so we're not ready to move forward with construction until we finalize the acquisition.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions on old business, other projects that weren't on the agenda? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to community input. Mr. Schwanger.
Thank you. I'll come to the podium here. Thank you. Tim Schwanger, Sandusky. It's been a while since I've been here. It's kind of hard to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I know last meeting, I think it was, you guys talked about maybe moving your meetings to a different time.
Yeah, but it was resolved that this was still good for
Okay.
everyone.
Well, it's good for you guys, but maybe not for the public. I don't know if you all retired or you're still working, or, you know, if
Even as a retired person, it's not easy, but we're here.
okay. All right, well, but see, we're still working. Yeah, I mean, you understand that you're here for the public as well as yourselves.
Well,
you know.
and the other item is, and the issue is trying to get it before work starts so that people are able to do it before work rather than during the middle of the workday.
Okay, well, most people start work at 7 o'clock, but anyway, my only other comment, concern is that I'm getting the impression from the city that perhaps the other pure track that we've discussed in the past, which runs from Ogat Street to behind City Hall, has kind of been forgotten because some of the, I don't want you in my backyard, boathouse owners don't want that as part of the Sandusky Bay pathway. And I'll take you back a few years. The city actually purchased that property from the railroad for intermodal transportation back in, I believe, 1975. And we've been trying to get that open, fight to get that open since about 1988. So I would suggest, I just keep bringing this up because I want you to keep it in the front of your mind that we bought it, even though the boathouse owners, some of them think that they own it, that they really don't, because it was never abandoned. It was actually purchased by the city to continue it as intermodal transportation. So if it was abandoned, obviously it would go back to the property owners, but it was never officially abandoned. It was sold to the city of Sandusky. So we've heard that we don't want to do that project because it's going to be expensive to put a bridge across. Well, you know, and I've said it before many times, and I'll say it again here today, we don't necessarily need to have a bridge. It could be a node. A node means that it dead ends. Okay? So it would be a walk out or ride out on your bike and walk back or ride back on your bike. That's what we've been advocating since 1988. And I just want people to realize, I'm going to bring it up again because some people have short memories, but that's what we're advocating for. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. All right. Mr. Mayor, good to see you. Do you have any comments today?
My only comment, I can share with you that I'm here pinch hitting for Commissioner Kuntz, who has a work-related conflict with the meeting this morning. And I may be here more often, I may be here less often, but I do try to show up at least once a year and thank all of you for what you're doing. You're climbing out of bed a little early, or maybe a little earlier for some of you to do this, and I want you to know that our city appreciates it. I've said oftentimes in the past, and it's still true, that this city runs on the backs of volunteers just like you folks. And without you, we would be missing a lot of teeth in our smile. So thanks for what you're doing. Oftentimes it's a thankless job, but it is very important that you continue to do what you're doing and we continue to get input on projects. And you ask the tough questions, sometimes easy questions, sometimes tough questions. I encourage you to keep doing that.
Okay.
Thanks for
All right.
what you're doing.
Thank you for those kind words.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Zula.
Yeah, I really do appreciate the comments by our mayor. It's not necessary, but it's nice that it gets recognized. And, you know, our city commissioners are virtually volunteers. They don't get paid a lot. And we have a whole lot of people, I mean, even people that participate as citizens and provide input. Just so many people just believe in this city and put their heart and soul into it. And it's good that we maybe pat each other on the back once in a while for all that dedication. So thanks for that.
Very good. Well said. Any other items that anyone has to bring forth before the committee this morning? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Sure.
Mr. Miller,
Second.
we're adjourned. Thank you.